Yo, what's going on, guys? Snoozeman back here with another YouTube video, and today we're actually going to talk about the best XP sliders to use right now here in Madden 22 franchise mode. Now, in my last video, I did cover the actual realistic gameplay sliders to use. Now, this video, I am going to be covering and talking about XP sliders and the best to use. Now, I'm not going to be really going by a side of realistic or fantasy style. I really feel like we could use this for both. I feel like this is very balanced here. We can use this for both realistic and fantasy style. I feel like it fits both, but I'm just going to run through these. And then again, if you guys have any concerns or any arguments to these, again, you can leave that down in the comment section and let me know what you guys like about this and what you guys don't. But I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Starting out with quarterbacks, I'm going to really specifically talk about also development and what I've noticed, because more so I do simulation style, but I'm going to kind of base it more so off of that because that's what I mostly do. But at the same time, I'm going to talk about the development process with some of these quarterbacks. Obviously, one of the main positions that is the easiest to develop. Obviously, if you have a young, good rookie quarterback, it's really easy to develop a guy like that. Like with the Bears and Justin Fields, it's really easy to develop a guy like that. In my opinion, stats are going to jump off the board really soon. So I actually took that down by 15. Again, that's realistic and fantasy style, in my opinion, because that's something that you see stats, jump off the board really rookie season and leading forward, and the development process becomes really easy. Now, development isn't as easy this year with some of these positions, but quarterback still is really easy to develop. Running backs, I went up +5 just because I don't really see development. Like, I see David Montgomery have really great years, but at the same time he doesn't really get a great overall boost. He doesn't really, his development never goes up. So I feel like this is going to help him develop a little bit better. And just running backs in general, +5. Tight ends, +15. Really, and receivers, pass catchers, really in general, because I'm not a guy that just likes tight ends, just blocking tight ends. So pass catchers, really in general, I boosted up +15. I don't really notice much, a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I see a lot of these pass catchers not put up big numbers for the most part, but even when they do, some of their best years, I'm not really noticing anything. And I don't know if it's just me, but a lot of my receivers tend to lose development traits very, very easily, and that's just a problem with me. And I at least like to help them out XP wise to at least keep their attributes going. So, if their dev does go, at least I have their attributes, consistently going up. So I'm adding +15 with that. That's kind of annoying. And then tight ends is something that is very hard to develop unless you have like a Kyle Pitts or something like that that's very young and obviously just he's really a receiver. It's just super easy to develop a guy like that, but he's really, really rare. So I feel like +15 in those departments are good. Fullbacks, only 100. I mean, I'm not one to really use fullbacks. Not many people are. Just like I talked about last year in Madden 21, offensive lineman is huge. This is what sets up really your quarterbacks, your running backs, your pass catchers. This is what gets your offense going. It protects and makes all that happen. So I boosted that up +10 because this is something in an area that is really hard to develop, really in general. Especially if you were somebody that drafts like I don't know, like a mid to high 60 overall, like 65 to 70 overall offensive lineman would start Ev. It's really hard to develop that. Let's say year 4 and you only get up to 75 stars still. Well, at that point, it's really just a trade asset because that's just not really that good. He doesn't develop really well. So I feel like with this and upgrading by the end of the season, it's going to help you with your offensive lineman in general. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, just the defensive line in general. This is really hard to develop as well as outside linebackers. Obviously, for every position, it depends on what type of players that you actually have. But defensive line, again, it's pretty hard to develop these. But it's not like crucial to where I must develop them because we get a lot of a lot more so on the defensive side of the ball than offense. We get a lot of dev messages that help us. Like let's say a guy is balling out and you have to meet a certain goal that week, and then they'll get a dev up. That happens more so on the defensive side of the ball. So I boosted that up +5. But again, defensive line, I like to key in on. I notice it's kind of a little bit harder to develop. Middle linebackers, I took that all the way down. 10 middle linebackers is something that for me, I like to use their middle linebackers and just middle linebackers in general in simulation. They rack up. I mean, I have a Roquan Smith, and he's insane. He puts up the tackles, he puts up the TFLs, the sacks, the picks, everything is in the tops of that category list. And even if you have some decent middle linebackers, they put up some crazy numbers. So and they actually are pretty easy to develop. One of the easier things, in my opinion, probably the second easiest thing outside of secondary to develop, and that's why I have them so low. But outside linebackers, really, it's really hard to develop these guys. By the end of the season, I like to obviously get some more with these guys, so I boosted that up +10. I mean, it depends on the scheme. I mean, if you're using a 3-4 defense and using your outside linebackers as guys that rush the quarterback, hopefully you have like studs. If not, it's a little harder to develop these guys. So I guess that kind of bases off scheme. Now if you're running like like a 4-3 and these linebackers are more so zone linebackers, then it's kind of harder. But it depends on the type of scheme. But I'm running a 3-4, so I'm keeping that at 110 because they rush the quarterback. But secondary wise, I can't say it enough. This is probably the easiest outside of quarterback to develop. Cornerbacks, I put it, outside of strong safety, it's the lowest here. I lower this, to 85. That's -15 to 100, and I just feel like these guys put up. If you have good corners, they develop really easily. They get the most skill points at each and every single season. Free safeties, I boosted up 290 because really outside of picks, they're not really. They're going to probably be right there with cornerbacks and picks, but unlike cornerbacks and strong safeties, they don't really, rack up the tackles, in my opinion. And this is a position that I only took down 10, which is still a good amount. And strong safeties here, guys, this is one of the most, and probably the most interchangeable position, because we can take this position and, like a Jamal Adams, so we can play him at linebacker, and we can play him at corner. So it's probably the most interchangeable position on the field, and it's really easy to develop a guy if we take a strong safety and put him at linebacker, or take a linebacker and put him at strong safety. It's just really easy to develop this position. It always is. Skill points rack up with strong safety. So I took this down 20. So hopefully you guys agree with a lot of this, and hopefully you guys can settle into this. And again, if you guys have anything that you disagree with or agree with, again, just let me know down below in the comment section. But also let me know down below for the future what you guys would like to see as well moving forward for Madden 22 franchise mode. But guys, that would be it for today's video, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next one.